Leo, welcome to your mid-April 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. Okay, so I'm recording this on the new moon in Aries. Actually hasn't gone exact, but it will. And I'm in the United States, as you can probably tell by my voice. And it's going to be tonight, April 11th, for those of you in Europe and Australia and New Zealand and all those places. It's going to be on the 12th sometime, so overnight. And it really doesn't matter because it's all in the same time frame. And so this for you, since it's a fellow fire energy, is going to be in your 9th house, Leo, in Aries, 22 degrees of Aries. And this is the area of expansion, and it can run the gamut of how that manifests for you, but it can include travel, so there might be no opportunities for that. So we shall see, we shall see. I'm also going to pick a Lemurian Oracle card from a new deck that I got, and we will see what that says. Gosh, this looks like almost like a mirror image of this Cancer reading. Some of the cards are the same, interestingly. So I'm going to pick an additional card. My goodness. I'm trying to pick a card that feels like... This looks so much like that Cancer reading. So many of the same cards. Weird. But in different positions. The heart of the matter is the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles is a card that can indicate some kind of financial hardship or the fear of financial hardship. Leo is a very expansive sign, being a fire energy. And, you know, some Leos do have Mercury in Cancer or Mercury in Virgo and may have a more fiscally conservative mentality, or, you know, some inner planets or even the moon that represents a bit of either their mind, you know, worry or kind of fear. Worry and fear are similar situations, but one is a condition and one is a an action. And so they're, you know, they're in the same group. But the point is that sometimes these things are not happening from real situations occurring, but simply a person's own habits, bad habits, the way that they think. Now, one of the things that you may have done, which is totally in the realm of possibility for Leo, is that you have overextended yourself financially. Okay, Leo's a very generous sign, but you might be a little bit too free spending sometimes, and maybe that has created a bit of problems. It might have been through a business that you own where you were in charge of the inventory. Unless this is connected to a financial manager, the King of Pentacles can be like a, I suppose it could be an accountant, but I think of like a, what's that term? Not King of Finance. There's a term that means somebody who's in the stock market. I can't think of that term. But if you gave your trust to a financial, God, what do they call those? Oh, in the stock market. I can't think of the name. But somebody who manages your portfolio or something like that. And maybe they made some risky investments on your behalf. and that has created a bit of, hardship of some sort. But this, and if you have gone through any kind of like a legal situation, and the settlement, the financial settlement has left you having to pay out somehow, that may have been, and this may have been with the King of Pentacles may have been the father of your child, or your biological father, and maybe his will, or something in that side of the family, or whatever. And you're bearing the brunt of it, or you are feeling you're feeling a bit of the financial pinch. But this could very well have nothing to do with any kind of financial matter. And this is more of your turning your back on the spiritual. You know what? When I'm pulling out these cards, I'm not really paying attention to the individual cards. Yep, I think it's more like that, because this is in the challenge position. The High Priestess. And this is like, I did get, and now I realize I got the, for Cancer, I got the High Priestess in the central card, as a central card. Oh my gosh, that's kind of funny, because I wasn't even thinking about that. I would have said that right off the bat. I think, overall, Leo people tend not to have money problems, because you just are very positive about money. And I think your motto is there's more where that came from. So I don't see you being too much in terms of actually facing those kinds of situations. Now, what the High Priestess can mean in this challenge position, since I'm reading it as a reversed card, is that you may be out of touch with your spiritual connection. I'm not talking about, oh, you didn't go to church for the last month or anything like that. I'm talking about that you're not in touch with the intuitive side of life. Perhaps you're repressing things, including your feelings, and what can come out of that is with Leo is that you are acting out, and this could just be like emotionally, that you're just having like little hissy fits, or that you're you're kind of being triggered emotionally because you're repressing your emotions. And you may really, there may be something going on with you spiritually. And like I said, this new moon is falling in this God house. So this is like a new beginning in the spiritual area. So if you needed that message from me, then I would certainly be happy to give it to you. So what can happen with Leo is this need to be recognized from an external vantage point, talking about the ego, but I'm not trying to get into narcissism or anything like that, but Leo is the sun wants to shine. And so it requires someone else, to acknowledge that they've received that light. And that can, all fire signs are extroverted, they're outer, and the problem is that sometimes we have to go within, and that might have been something that you have avoided for whatever reason. And but the biggest thing is not honoring your intuition in some way, and that coming back to bite you in the butt in some way. And by the way, with the King of Pentacles, if this is an aspect of you, it might have been pursuing, that material side. And that is, that part is like taken care of, but then there's like an inner poverty. So I don't want to make it seem like this is just about outer things. And so the higher message is the Eight of Wands, and this is a card of things just kind of like taking off like wildfire. And I'm reading this as a kind of like from the higher perspective, or the bigger picture kind of a thing. So, how I see this is, I'm talking about that new moon in the 9th house, that, that can even be like travel or something, some kind of developments for you in that sense. And maybe that will, any kind of stagnation, that will kind of counter that and make it so that you're able to, expand your consciousness while you expand your geography, for instance. Maybe that was something that you had been counting on, going to some kind of retreat that was overseas or something, and it got canceled, and then it just set you down a different path, and so you'll be able to kind of go back and do what you didn't do before. And so what is coming in is represented by the Star card, and this is that card associated with your opposite sign, Aquarius. This is about healing and faith in unseen forces. Can even be somebody who has crossed over, who is guiding you in some way and inspiring you. This is also, Aquarius is the ruler of the 11th house of hopes and wishes, and all of those things that you want to, like your longer range goals. So accomplishing those things. Now we have the earth element represented in the top row, and that one of the things another astrologer said that really resonated with me was how some of those outer planets went, Jupiter and Saturn specifically, went from Earth in the form of Capricorn to air, and how air is lighter than Earth, and Earth is dense. And I never really thought of it that way, because we, in the 3D, from the 3D perspective, we think of Earth as something that is tangible and therefore real to us, more than something that is invisible, like the Star card represents. And so, and I didn't even think about that, like the connection to Aquarius with Jupiter and Saturn, and those are both your, opposing your sun. And so the point being that they, same thing is going to happen with Pluto in a couple of years, is that the air allows for more freedom and detachment. And so instead of being weighed down by that, so even though, the King of Pentacles can indicate financial, wealth and control of one's finances, it can still be, in a sense, being weighed down by that kind of that worldly activity, instead of having the like the high priestess having a more a higher connection than just the material, which has the ability to fluctuate. It's temporary, in other words. So something may be making you feel, by the time, within the 3rd week of the month, more hopeful about your situation. Now, I should have left it here. I don't know why. I just, sometimes I don't want to do that. The outcome is a 10 of Swords. Now, typically in another type of reading, I would say this is a card of betrayal. But if I had picked this at the beginning of the reading, I think I would have focused more on that angle. I think this card is saying like that your situation is on the upswing. The number 10 is a number of completion, and so any kind of strife, any kind of feeling of something not being harmonious in your life may be dissipating. And I did pick 2 additional cards to kind of clarify that. The reason I didn't end with this one is because it does leave more questions and answers. And it's like maybe having to choose, maybe being at a crossroads of your life. And I certainly feel that it's almost like the poverty is like a spiritual poverty, you know. It's like, so it's kind of like, you know, somebody who gains the world but loses their soul. And I'm being a little bit melodramatic, but just to give that kind of analogy. So I picked the additional card. To me, this is Leo. And but the Queen is the water element. To me, like the High Priestess, this idea of, blending your passions with something spiritual, not living in the mode of passion, but having a zest for life that is informed by your spiritual connection to the divine, and how that radiates on a daily basis. So maybe this is more of an encouragement to embrace the spiritual side of life more if you've gotten off track. So let me pick that additional card. Okay, I got it right here. Okay, this is, what number is this? 49? Did I get this for another? If I get this for Cancer, I'm going to scream, and I thought I did. The Infinite. Why is this reading so tied to Cancer? I don't know. I think it might have been. I'm just going to read a little bit from this because it is pretty extensive. The external life force, cycles of growth. These are just keywords of this card. Rising from the ashes, many deaths and rebirths within one's life. And by the way, I did shuffle the cards, and I'm still getting the same thing. You are so much more than your physical body. That's another thing, too, is that the Pentacles also connect not only to money, but to your physical body. And I want to read this because I thought this was really interesting when I read it for Cancer. The beings in Lemuria are said to have lived for many hundreds of years. As they were only partially incarnated, their bodies were much lighter, less physically actualized, and less affected by aging. They were also aware of their infinite nature. The Lemurians were multidimensional beings and regularly traversed realms other than the physical, including the places before and after quote-unquote death. The divinatory meaning. This card of rebirth can appear after challenges that have required a level of surrender. So I would, connect that to the Star card. Not the surrender necessarily, but just that sense of hope restored in your life. You have arrived at a beginning. Revel in your newfound inner freedom. Blockages have fallen away. Doors are opening, and there are opportunities to step into. Stretch your wings and see how far they can reach. Rise from the ashes like a phoenix, born anew, ready for a new cycle of growth. Celebrate, honor the road that brought you here, and prepare to take flight with the tools you have gathered through your elevation process. All right. Okay. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this, Leo. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.